start out with Montgomery Cancer Center, Mr. Tommy McKenna and Ms. Martin. Welcome to Pike County. Come on up, please.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
I guess, is it deep in?
Hey, there you go. Yep. Yes, sir.
No, we can't.
Go ahead. Go ahead, sir.
Without Mike.
Yes, sir.
My name is Tommy McKenna, and I'm the Executive Director of the Baptist Healthcare Foundation. I appreciate the time today. I'm here to present to you very quickly about Montgomery Cancer Center's latest effort to bring cancer prevention, education, and screening to the most rural parts of central Alabama. Montgomery Cancer Center has identified 12 counties where we see a significant number of cancer patients from, but sadly we see a lot of people who come in at late stages. It's not unheard of that, first of all, that cancer is the second leading cause of death in the state of Alabama. But sadly, a lot of those diagnoses could have been caught earlier and therefore could have been treated earlier and would have saved a lot of people. The project is a 37-foot mobile unit. It's basically an RV that's specifically outfitted by a special company to be a medical unit. And so rather than, in this particular case, bringing medical modalities such as mammography, this is going to be a bus where we take a couple of people staffed by clinical experts from Montgomery Cancer Center. The bus will visit 12 counties per month for approximately 144, 150 different event dates per year. And the idea is to work with the program manager of the unit to identify areas and groups of people that could be spoken to and then also screened individually to be able to identify issues that they may have. We anticipate that we'll be able to identify a lot of possible precancer or cancerous type diagnoses. And then the idea would be to help navigate those patients through the process, whether they pursue treatment or care at Montgomery Cancer Center or anywhere else. I think it's also important to point out that it doesn't matter whether a patient has insurance or poor insurance or great insurance. We're going to help them regardless of their ability to pay. We're going to help them to find appropriate transportation if that's needed and any medical service, even if they wind up being referred up to UAB or any other hospital that requires a higher level of service. As I mentioned, 12 full counties, and the reason that I'm here today is I'm specifically asking for some financial support. We're out talking to every single one of the counties that will be served in the geographic area. I'm happy to say that Montgomery and Elmore counties are already on board. We came up with a total of $90,000 of an ask for all 12 of the counties completely. The price of the bus is $366,000, so that ask is about 25% of the total cost of the RV. We've also already raised about $265,000 in total, so I'm pretty excited about that, but we also need your help as well. One of the reasons we think that's important is that actually we believe that the counties it shows their financial support and backing, and that brings a lot of credibility to this project as well. It's one thing for us to buy a bus and also to operate that bus at about $500,000 per year. That's going to be on Montgomery Cancer Center's nickel, so you don't have to worry about that. But we also need your help in identifying those locations where we can bring the bus to, helping to identify groups of people, and it might be a city event, it might be in the most rural part of Pike County. But we want to be there and be able to impact as many people as possible. One of the great things about your investment, and that investment is $5,917. You're probably wondering how I got to that amount. It's $90,000 that's then broken down by pro rata share across the 12 counties based on population. So Montgomery County was way up here, considerably more, and Elmore County about $15,000, and Wilcox County at $1,800. So $5,900 and change. And that is a one-time ask. I'm not going to come back and ask for any more money from you. And that will last for the entire lifetime of the bus that we anticipate to be 8 to 10 years. If all goes well, We're going to be bringing a second bus at no charge to you that would be a mobile mammography unit within a couple of years. What we want to do is be able to prove the concept first, make sure that all the counties and all the areas are being served appropriately, and that we're able to push people through the various resources that are needed. And once we're able to do that, then we're able to bring in another bus to best serve the entire area as well. So I realize I have very limited time, and I've tried to squeeze a lot into.
Thank you.
You've got a packet before you. It's got all of our contact information. And I've been told that these things are usually talked about in the next upcoming meeting. So I would be happy to address any questions you may have.
Anybody got any questions? Comment?
Well, give me an example of what kind of event or what you would take this to, but in the rural areas, how would we,
Sure.
How would we do this?
So that sales marketing department is going to be out promoting the bus on a regular basis. As I mentioned, we'll also have a program manager. So we're going to be actually speaking to all of the county commissions or the local cities to be able to identify whether it's just an event that draws people to it, which I really like because you know you're going to have people there. And then we promote it on the front end and say, hey, the Montgomery Cancer Center Driving Hope Bus is going to be there. Stop by or even register online for an appointment to get a free personalized screening. Or we might just set up where we've just got a group of people to talk to. It could be even as simple as one of the biggest problems that we have with our youth today is the use of smokeless tobacco or vaping or other kind of tobacco products. And so it might be coming in and talking to a school or the Fellowship of Christian Athletes chapter that's in whatever it might be. Wherever there's a group of people, that's where we want to be. It could be a senior citizens home for that matter. It could be a city parade where you know that there's going to be a lot of people, or it may be a particular company. If you've got a particular plan that you think, hey, this would be a really good fit. So I want to make sure that we also pay attention to all of your districts as well, because y'all are going to have different needs in each of your areas. I hope that answers your question.
Anybody else? Thank you. Thank you for your time. Appreciate you being here. And next we have Mary Alice Moses, the Revenue Commissioner's Office. Good evening.
As y'all know, we've had a vacancy in our office for a little while now for our customer service rep 2, and we have completed that interview process and wanted to recommend the hire of Ms. Elizabeth Gates for that position at a grade 5A step I, and it will be 2 weeks.
Any questions? Comment? Thank you, Mary Alice. Then we have Chief Euchre Stevens and Mr. Curtis with the Patrol Fire Department.
Yes, I'm just here to answer any questions or discuss the bid specifications for the grant process that we've been going on for the last couple of months. We finally got approval for it.
Okay. Anybody got any questions? Thank you, Chief.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it. Okay, engineer report. Good afternoon.
Good evening. I will apologize in advance. We have a lot of stuff on the agenda tonight, but it should be helpful.
Good.
Under new business, the first thing that we have is a draft of the, I guess you say the first draft of the, our recommended CTP for next year. Just as a reminder that this is your county transportation plan, where you spell out what you will do with your Rebuild Alabama funds next year. And this does have to be approved by you by the end of August, before the end of August. So, you don't have a multi-year resurfacing list that you've actually voted on, but we do have a list, that we, I guess you say a tentative list based on traffic counts and conditions. And we just pull these roads right off of that list and plug in based on our cost estimate, what we thought we could get in there. So that's where those come from.
Quick. Commissioner Johnson?
Due to the, just one issue we have with bridge bids the other day, if we're not able to get everything done we had planned on doing this year, will we be able to, unfortunately, roll that into next year, even if we approve this by the end of August? And what I don't want to have happen is, if we don't get everything we wanted done in 2021 done, I don't want it to roll to 2023 because we've already approved the 22 CDP. So what is our way of navigating through that if need be?
Well, I think we'll be able to get everything done. Now, the work, the actual finishing the work of the projects that are on this year's list, I think will probably happen after the beginning of the next fiscal year, or at least the payment for those will, but that won't be an issue. But
I'm not just talking about the CTP work for 2021, but we had multi-tier infrastructure work in the county this year. We had Rebid Alabama stuff, we had road bridge work. If we miss something out of any of those funds, my anticipation would be that that's what got done first in 2022 before we went, you understand, so that things don't fall out of the list of orders that we had anticipated getting done.
Okay, so are you saying that if some of the other funding falls through,
I would say
you want to put out here?
And it does bother me a little bit. We voted on a couple of them in the past 6 years, at least 2 priority lists for the county. And you brought them to us, and we've sat here and talked them out amongst all of us, and looked at the methodology behind why one road was above another, and et cetera, et cetera. And as we have been able to work through financial woes, and with Rebid Alabama, we've been able to expedite a lot of that work. But what I am saying is that irregardless of the funding method, if something was on the 2021 plan to be done, and it does not get done, it needs to be first on the list for 2022, irregardless of what fund they might be gone on. I do not, because earlier in this year, we talked about it, we approved what was going to be done this year, irregardless of the funds it came from. And all that was put in paper, people were told, hey, we're going to finally get your road paid. Okay. And we had a bridge come back $250,000 higher than what was anticipated. And we're having these issues with other things as well, and if we're not able to get all of this work done, what I'm saying is, irregardless of the fund, we don't need those jobs skipped for another year because we've already approved the 2022 CTP. Everybody follow?
Yes. Okay, well, as far as I can tell, we expect to have the issue with the bridge, the culvert project resolved. They have not, FHWA has not authorized that yet or approved the increase in the project budget. But, from what LDOT officials are telling me, that's going to happen. So we expect that to happen. And in the meantime, you don't have to, this isn't even for you to approve tonight, so we can just carry it.
I'm not trying to bust your chops about that. I just don't want stuff to get a year out of place because, we have talked about road paving list and these meetings more than a few times, and as we go through these things and see funding for those years, and we're going out and telling them, naturally, it's not rocket science, it's the people's roads are on the top of these lists. They're the ones that are calling us every week complaining, and when you get to go tell somebody, hey, we're finally going to get this fixed, and record inflation hits, if we're not able to fight through all this year, that sure does need to be the first step to get handled in 2022.
And every project that you've approved, that you voted on and approved, every list is actually on your website, posted out there for the public. So as far as I know, those projects are still on track. pushing them forward every day, so I don't
I think what Mr. Johnson's trying to tell you is we're shifting some of this based off the funds, and you look at it based off the funds. That ain't how we look at it. If we said in 2021, these 7 roads were gonna get paved, and these 7 things were gonna get done, we don't care what fund they come out of. Those are legal. Those need to be the first 7 things. And nothing needs to jump because of a fund, that they come out of.
If there were 7 things we promised out this year and don't 5 of them get done, or 6 of them, or 6.5 of them get done, whatever's undone this year needs to be the first thing tackled next year. That's it.
Were we worried about the cost of our estimates on these?
On the ones that are on this draft, CTP. Well, I mean, everything is kind of gone haywire right now, but these are the best we can come up with at this point, and there is a little bit of cushion in there. We left about, instead of trying to cram another small project in there, we did leave a little bit of a cushion in that one, based on what, and we don't know how much money we're going to get, we're just anticipating the revenues based on what we did this year, so.
I mean, I know we're in different uncharted territory right now in construction. And that is not your fault, ours, anybody in this room, but I just want to make certain if anything falls through the cracks, it's handled top priority next year before we get moved too far down the road. It's just something that's not.
I got a couple questions to ask. On the Shellhorn Road, we are distant side of that road, and the road is level, also the washing, but you go down to a hill a little bit, you got to cut, but the rest of them, I think we wasted time, we could be working somewhere else. I was out there when we were last Wednesday, had 3 people out there, no flag man, just had 1 truck on this end with the lights flashing. But you going down the hill, so you got to come down home. And so, if we ain't got enough folks, we need to stop putting 2 or 3 out there, especially from the other side of the road. You know that road there, it's got a lot of traffic on it, big trucks on it, and they come over here, they ain't ready to stop with all that heavy load on there. If we go get on that side of that road and do some work, we need to some flags out there. There's one sign, and they go 15 cents on one end, on the other end, you want nothing out there.
What you saw was the preparation work associated with the resurfacing project that we got coming up later this year. And so that's what we were doing there. And we do have a flag. We're not going to get in that road or any other road without proper traffic control. We do follow the MUTCD on our traffic control. So I don't know what you saw. Maybe they were just moving the tractor or something.
No, they were working. 3 people was out there. One was on the escalator, one was flying with the tractor. And one had a little, well, the tractor had hitch behind it. It was dragging, it was the thing, it was dragging. The rest of it. Matter of fact, one was laying outside the ditch. How can you flat traffic, you sitting out on the bus?
I don't know, Mr. I have to look into that. I'm not sure. You can give it a date. I'll just try to find out what's going on there. But that sounds highly unusual.
Oh, no. I'm riding there, you got time to find out who it was.
No,
Hey, that's what it's about.
Anything else, Commissioner? Okay. Anybody else? Go ahead, Russell. All right. Second, we have our monthly project update. I didn't have anything specifically to point out there. I do have something on the block grant project that I'll get to down in the current business. Okay. Later. And third, under new business, is our list of annual bids for goods and services. This is just a list that we get you to approve every year about this time. We try to secure contracts for annual contracts for goods and services that we need. So that it doesn't have to be approved tonight. Okay, move forward on business, the first thing we have is personnel. We do have two different memos there that we handed out to you for personnel recommendations. The first one is for 2 employees that have completed their 6-month probationary period. And we're recommending permanent status for those. And the next one is recommending a new hire for our new real estate supervisor. We hope to get that individual approved and started. I will say, since you met the last time, the Elba work release facility did call us last week and tell us that we won't be able to get inmates on the 12th of July and now be the 19th of July. They have had to postpone their vaccination or have some timing issue there. So, but they have set up an orientation for us on July the 7th. So we'll be going down there and getting set up with them and getting ready to get back started. Okay. And I think, you can, I hope you'll give me your feedback, but we kind of planned on just doing kind of what we did when we first started the program, which is moving around the county in a systematic fashion, addressing major acts first, and then working in individual work orders that we get them from you guys. I know you get work orders from your constituents. So, as far as where we start or which road you get in that first round, it really doesn't matter to me. And so that's something that y'all will be thinking about and just give us your feedback.
Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Two quick things. One of these is going to be for George to give McKinsey back when she gets back. Anything we have not, we haven't had a little program in 12 months, 15 months per se. Any funds that they built up in that, because we weren't running a program. I had to go reading this morning, and on the way back between Brantley and New Bern, I know it was on State Highway, but I'm asking you to reach out to whoever is over Outlook for that district area on 331. There was a private company picking up litter in the median and on the sides of 331. It was not a state vehicle. It had a sign plugged into the back bumper, like a post that ran out of the back of the grease hitch with a litter crew sign. There was 7 or 8 men, I couldn't tell, but they had a door sticker. And I've never seen that before, but we're a year behind. We're a year with no litter being picked up. And if that is something you could look into and find out who that is, if we've got some surplus funds built up from not running that program for a year, I would like for you to come back this next meeting, and if you could do some research on that, if we've got any extra money, maybe we do a double whammy for 3 months or something to try to get back to where we were in March of last year when everything fell apart, because we hadn't had anything happen for 15 months. And I'd just be curious what you think. But I've never noticed that. They were out working today on 3 months. Okay. That's not out of the Troy office, is it?
No. Well, it's out of the Troy area office, but not the Troy district office. Depending on what, I'll check. The line is in there somewhere close by, so depending on how close you were to Brantley versus how close you were to Kern. But I know both offices, so we'll check. Okay.
Or would be Angelo's or District 5?
Right, it'll be one of those two. That's correct. The next item that we have on here, we really don't have anything for you to approve, but the ER Bridge project on County Road 6618, which Mr. Johnson alluded to earlier. That one, we still have not received FHWA authorization. An Aldo official just called me as your work session was starting and told me that he hopes to have an answer for us tomorrow morning. So we'll have to forward that one to the next meeting for the award of that project. And next, we will, We do have equipment still under current business, and we will be taking bids, sealed bids. We'll be advertising for sealed bids for a used roller, as you approved earlier. So we'll come back to you hopefully at the next meeting for recommendation of that. The A-Trip settlement invoices that we discussed at the last meeting, Mr. Reeves and I did talk to Mr. Ferguson from Senator Tugwell's office, and a couple of days later I got an email from FEMA for the project obligation of funds. So apparently that conversation was fruitful, and I'm told by the state EMA that they expect to have everything approved sometime this week and release the funds to us that's owed to us from the 2015 disaster from the state. And so then we can turn around and pay the invoices that we owe out for the extra projects. But I would probably recommend to you tonight that, that he's hoping within a week. It could take 2-3 weeks. I don't know. I think we're close now, though. So, I would ask your permission to go ahead and use the lodging tax fund, go ahead and pay those outright invoices, and then, being that we are now expecting the state EMA money very soon, we can just turn around and reimburse the lodging tax fund. And it would just be a temporary stopgap issue with payment.
Let me ask something, let me back up one, because I didn't hold a lot of that, I'll back up too. So we've talked this afternoon, obviously about a timing issue, 6618. Is that not the case anymore? Or, so if you think you're close, do we need to make preparations for a meeting, emergency meeting, to approve that?
Well, you could, but I don't know anything for sure on time, so I wouldn't know when to ask you when to call a special meeting. So I think what we're going to have to do is reach out to the bidder and get an extension. And those projects have to be awarded within 30 days of the bid opening, unless the bidder agrees to a time extension. So we'll reach out to them, and hopefully by the time you meet again on July the 12th, I believe is your next meeting, we'll know. We'll have all the authorization we need for the project, and you can go ahead and award it. Is that it? Okay. Next item is the private water lines on dirt roads that we discussed at the last meeting. I think you have something in your agenda package for that. It looks like this. The Water Authority did provide us with a total cost estimate, including materials, labor, and equipment. And again, this is just a rough estimate, but based on the 126.6 miles that we think would be approximately what we need to accomplish the eliminating those private lines. The total cost estimate on that would be about $842,500. And then, kind of along the same lines, we also handed out a memo to you that was like this. The subject line is water relocation for January 7749 CDBG project. When we applied this last time for the block grant for the Town Road and for County Road 2256, we included the water line upgrades in the grant application. I know most of you probably remember that. It's something that we decided to do to make the grant application more attractive. So we've been working with the Water Authority to figure out how to get that accomplished, and they told us for now they're too busy to do it with their own forces, so they've given us a
price to have their contractor do that work, and the price is $74,500. So, we reached out to the auditors, and, you know, they don't see any problem with us reimbursing the water authority for having that work done. And so I attached some information on the coronavirus state and local fiscal recovery funds. I know y'all are already aware of some of these allowable uses, but this information came to us from the ACCA, and I can forward the email to you if you didn't get it. I did not make a copy of the entire document, but I did copy the first page for you there in section 6, which covers eligible uses for water, sewer, and broadband infrastructure. So, you know, I don't know 100%, but I mean, we've had this conversation before, and it looks like that money can be used for that type of infrastructure. So,
So I know we did the estimates on this before. Where were we pulling this money from? When we did this estimate, apply this grant?
yeah, just out of our match money, our cash match money. Which now, you know, we need help now because of the, you know, what we've already talked about, the prices in the construction market.
Yeah. And that's kind of the first thing we discussed is the exact same thing. And that's the problem with this road, is the same problem we got estimate for on all the other roads.
Yeah, that's part of my plan. I brought up to him when this came up. I was in there with the county negotiating about the issue down there. And we were talking about this water, and I just told him that what we talked about in our committee meeting the other day about reading through all of this data on what the allowable uses were, and I just made the comment to him. I said, hey, one of the two simplest things it appears you can use it for is water infrastructure and broadband. Before you reinvent the wheel trying to figure out where to cover some of these inflated costs, you know, if we're sitting here talking about the dirt road water issue, you know, that's a small potato to, you know, just bring it to the table so we can all talk about it, because I know he's suffering from dealing with inflated.
What's the difference in their two roads? Should I do it? What do you do?
No, what we were hoping to do was just to help them buy the materials on it, and then, you know, provide some in-kind help with labor and equipment to actually, you know, help them do the work. But apparently, you know, they've had some other big issues going on in their system. I know some of you are aware of some of those issues they've had. So this was unforeseen, and I think and I'm not trying to speak for them, I'm just, this is my understanding based on what I was told, is that they're just unable at this time to do this work with their own forces. And we didn't know these things last year, you know, when we were hoping to work together to get the work done.
Russell, on 7749, that beaver pond, how y'all gonna bring, that water now?
The beaver pond,
On 7749. It's
uh,
on both sides of the road. I can see we got a bridge there, you put right across the bridge side.
it's probably going to be a bore, directional bore.
Directional board.
Yeah.
They included one directional bore in their price, so I'm assuming that's where the location of that bore would be. Anything else? We gotta move on. All right, I think, that's all we had tonight. Any more questions for our engineer? Thank you, Russ. EMA, Mr.
I have nothing that requires any action. I just, for sure we're going to be on our marketing campaign on the road work system and try to get this out there.
Questions on the EMA? 911?
I don't have anything that needs any action. I've got some small pieces of information I'd like to pass on after that.
Okay. All right, attorney report? No. Okay. On commissioner reports, does anybody else besides me have anything? What I have is the city of Brundage has requested that we help them with their July 4th celebration. And I had reached out, or Mayor Boyd had reached out to me and a few other commissioners. if possible, we would give them $1,000 out of the general fund, and we'll ask for the suspension of the rules and approving that at the regular meeting. And I think we're gonna need to go into executive session concerning, what's the matter, Alan?
Do what?
Potential.
Well, yeah, an event occurred that could possibly be claimed. I'd say that's the best way to describe it right now. There, potential claim, which could then be potential litigation. I mean, but we need to discuss that, and we're allowed to discuss that in executive session. It does meet the exemption criteria.
We're gonna do that at the end of the meeting, of the regular meeting. Anybody else? Administrative report?
Let's see. The first thing I have under the administrator's report is the surplus property request for the sheriff's department. And if it is okay with you all, they would really like to get that equipment sold, so they have asked if you are able to suspend the rules and vote on that tonight. They would appreciate that. Under number 3, taxes and litigations, errors and insolvents for the Revenue Commission Office, they have also asked that this be taken care of tonight, if possible. Number 4, the ACCA Annual Conference. Mackenzie just wanted me to let y'all know that we might need to reschedule that August 23rd meeting, because I know 4 commissioners are going to that meeting, to the conference. So she said, just to make y'all aware, and I don't know if y'all want to reschedule it or cancel it altogether. I think it's like a Monday through a Friday the conference is.
Yeah.
So,
We would sure need to cancel that particular meeting.
Okay.
We wouldn't have a quorum if we tried to meet anyway.
yeah, so I was going to say, there'd be no point in meeting.
Yeah.
We also have a request for FMLA in the commission office, and that is attached in your agenda package, and we will need to suspend the rules and vote on that tonight as well,
Okay.
because it will need to be backdated in a few days. Under current business, there is personnel, the Revenue Commission Office, what Mary Alice spoke to you all about,
Okay.
hiring for the customer service rep 2 position in her office. And under number 15, retail beer request for the Roost at 1:30. We have received all the documentation we need and gotten the affidavit in. If y'all would like to go ahead and vote for that. And the only other thing I have is number 16, the ACCA Legislative Committee nomination. I know y'all discussed nominating Chad for next year, so if y'all want to go ahead and vote on that, that can be done tonight as well. And I think that's all I have.
Questions for the administrator's office? Okay, thank you, ma'am. Pike County Commission work session now come to a close. We're only going to have about a 5-minute break and then come back and do the regular meeting. We are adjourned.
Yeah.